Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Central Europe where we've had a little bit of snow this morning and experiencing a little bit of winter. Definitely not like in the past. Welcome Eldor, Botir, Ozoda, Druv. Good to see many of our regular students. Hi honey, nice to see our members in the class as well. Welcome everyone to this class. We are focusing on IELTS Task 1 writing, specifically a diagram Band 9. This diagram was requested by one of our students. So we will go through this diagram and I will write a Band 9 essay together with you. This lesson is presented by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Check us out there. For the general IELTS, visit us at IELTShelp.com. On both of our websites, we have lots of materials for you to improve your communication, your English, get those high band scores. We have help for the writing. We have professional editors that can help you improve your writing scores. You can also practice your speaking with other students. And we have practice exams, HD videos, with strategies. We are world leaders when it comes to IELTS exam preparation. This is our academic IELTS website here. You can click that big red button to join the premium package. We are an official British Council IELTS test registration center for Saudi Arabia, and we have British Council certified agents as well. So if you have questions, let us know. This is our general IELTS website here with the green background. You can click that big red button to join us there. And again, if you have questions, just send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com and I will gladly answer your inquiries. Hi again, Jaineel. Hi, Nick Hill. Hi, Rashika. Nice to see you in the class. All right, Earl, thank you. You're melting my heart. And if you haven't installed our apps on your mobile, definitely do that. There's lots of free materials there too. Academic IELTS Help app, links to aehelp.com. General IELTS Help app, links to gieltshelp.com. So make sure to use those resources. Okay, everyone. So Task 1 right now. Tomorrow we'll have a bit of writing for members and reading, and then speaking later in the week. Here is the question for today. I'm a little bit curious how this green is going to look in this live lesson, so we'll see that in a moment. Okay, everyone, so this is our Task 1, and this is coming from, I believe, a Cambridge IELTS practice material, so thank you to Cambridge for that. This is IELTS Task 1 writing. You should spend about 20 minutes on this task. Only spend 20 minutes, okay? The following diagram shows the steps required for the production and delivery of hydroelectric power. Describe the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Write at least 150 words, so minimum 150 words. I've actually seen this diagram on the IELTS exams a couple of times over the years, so it's definitely one of those favorite types of IELTS diagrams. And here is this diagram. Hopefully everybody can see this fairly clearly. If you don't see the words super clear, that's okay. Don't worry about that right now. We'll discuss those anyway. But here is our diagram. It says IELTS writing task 1. You have some sunshine here. You have the ocean. You have evaporation here. You have rain here. I'll zoom in later on. And then here you have some structures, high voltage cables, a transformer station, and then here you have a house, you have some industry or a factory, and you have some hospitals and schools. All right, so a number of components here to this diagram. Firstly, you obviously realize right away that this is a process diagram. It's a process. It's a physical process, okay? Process diagram, it's one type of diagram, and a process essay is one type of expository essay, okay? Task 1 academic, this is task 1 academic. If you're doing general, This is not your cup of tea, okay? This is for academic students, but if you're general, hey, it's still great practice to be here for your English. So this is an expository essay, and it's a process type expository essay, okay? The process starts here and then goes this way, comes around, and finishes here, okay? Everybody sees that? Everybody's good? Everybody can see that this is the direction of this process, top left, over to the right, and then back down here. Obviously, we have a few components in here. Everybody good? Everybody with me so far? I want to make sure I'm not losing anyone or and that it's clear. You can see this. Yeah, Janil says yes, it's clear. Okay, yeah. All right. So when you have a process essay, that's when you should be thinking about using the words like first, second, third, fourth, and so on. Too many students use the words first, second, third, or firstly, secondly incorrectly in other types of essays, like in their task 2 essay. You shouldn't really use them in your task 2 essay. This is where you want to use them. Okay, so just a couple of quick notes as we get going with this essay here. We're going to do it together. Okay. So first of all, you want to recognize that task 1 academic is an expository essay. Okay. What's the goal of an expository essay? Okay. It's one of the main essay types. We've talked about this in the past. There are 4 main types of essays. What's the goal of an expository essay? Can anybody tell me? Okay, hopefully you come up with what I'm writing right now. Okay. And here the subcategory is a process essay, which is an essay that describes clear ordinal stages in a system. Okay? Everybody hopefully is with me so far. Yeah, Hadith says to explain. Right, Hadith? Yeah, explain, explore, expose. Okay? Shazib, it's not really, it's kind of an evaluation of a diagram. Okay? Right? So this is what it is. That's what task 1 academic is. It's an expository essay. Of course, the reason why IELTS is asking you for this is because in university you write a lot of expository essays. Okay? Hopefully everybody's clear on that. If you haven't heard the words expository essay and you're going to sit the academic IELTS exam, take an hour or 2, go on Google and research expository essay writing. Okay? So it's an essay that seeks to explore, explain, expose information to the reader. And the subcategory of this essay is a process essay. Okay? It's an essay which describes the clear ordinal stages in a system. Ordinal means the order, first, second, third, fourth. Okay? If these are new concepts for you, on our academic IELTS website in your writing materials, you have this clearly explained in our interactive course as well. So definitely use that if you don't already. Okay? All right. So next, of course, is that this type of essay, it's very important. So this type of essay is almost always written, you know what, I'm not going to confuse you. I'm just going to say always for IELTS. This type of essay for IELTS is always written in third person objective voice, which means that you cannot use the pronouns I, my, you, we, us. Okay? All right? Especially the we and the us. I see a lot of students write things like, as we can see in the diagram. No. Okay? Don't say that. Just write differently. Write objectively. Okay? Everybody good on that? All right? So don't use I, me, you, we, us. Those are used for different types of essay writing, not really for third-person expository style writing. Okay? All right, everybody clear on that? It's very important. If you do use those words, you will weaken your essay and you will lose marks. All right, no question. The IELTS examiners are trained in essay styles, in author voices. They recognize these very quickly. They know that expert writers are very informed and know how to control voice and essay style. Okay, at a band 7, 5, 8, band 9, the candidates can control essay style and author voice. Keep that in mind, okay? Very important. So note, for bands 7.5 to 9, the IELTS candidate can clearly control the essay style and voice of the author. All right, everybody's good? Yeah? All right, good. I'm seeing a lot of yeses, so fantastic. All right. Okay, good. So again, let's get back to writing here. So what do we do, right? That's the question. Well, what do you do? Okay. All right, well, step 1 is let's write the overview. Okay. Overview is a paraphrase. Okay. It's your first paragraph. Okay. And this is a paraphrase of the question with more details and the main feature. Okay, these do not have to be separate. Okay, some people write a separate introduction and overview, which is, in my opinion, just kind of strange. The overview and introduction are synonymous. They can definitely be in one paragraph. So here we go. Paraphrase this with some details. That's right, Surya. Paying attention in classes. I can see that. So go ahead. The following diagram shows the steps required for the production and delivery of hydroelectric power. Describe the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Okay, so first step, I look at this. Okay, and I just told you that it's a process diagram, so you can immediately use a nice adjective. This process diagram, okay? And then we'll see how fancy you can get. So, of course, IELTS is a test of knowledge and English and critical thinking, all rolled into one, okay? That's why there's 2 versions. It's an English proficiency test, not an ESL test, so you have to show your proficiency. Okay, so here's the diagram. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 7 stages, roughly. I would say it's kind of arbitrary. You might write 6, you might write 7, you might write 8. Depends on how you structure your essay. I would say 6 to 8 stages here for the production of hydroelectric power. Okay. So let's write that paraphrase with some details. I'm going to do that right now and then we'll compare, okay? So I'm not going to go back and count that right now. Just going to keep it simple. Remember, 150 words, so you got to get going on this. All right. Okay, Nick Hill. Nick Hill says this pictograph illustrates the information of different stages for the creation and transportation of hydroelectric power. Okay, Nick Hill, not bad. Okay. Kritika says the rendered process diagram depicts the information regarding the stages of the production of hydroelectric power. Kritika, that's good. Okay, nice attention to some adjectives. Ferdov says the blueprint gives information about the process of creating electricity with water power and the transmission of this to 3 different fields involving 7 stages. Okay, Ferdov's good attempt. I made a few corrections. Pay attention to that. Jainil says the given pictograph shows the steps to produce electric power by using water and distributing the electricity to the city. Okay, Jainil, good. Jainil, don't use the word pictograph with depicts, because picto and depict, it's kind of awkward to phrase together, okay? Surya says the given diagram illustrates the stages required to produce hydroelectric energy and transferring it to consumers. Okay, good. Very nice. All right. Rashika says the pictogram illustrates the process for producing hydroelectric power. Look at all the different ways that students are paraphrasing this. That's fantastic, okay? So as the idiom goes, there's more than one way to skin the cat. So lots of different ways to say this. All right, well done. Un says the given blueprint illustrates 8 steps in the process of producing and transferring hydroelectric power to consumers. Very good. This is mine here. This process diagram explains the 7 stages and multiple components needed to create hydroelectric energy and deliver it to the public. Okay, so another way to paraphrase this. Absolutely, there we go. All right, so some paraphrasing, a little bit of extra information, and now we're into a high band essay. All right, so let's get the main feature. Okay, so now the main feature. You don't need to write this. This is just for you to learn. So the main feature is what you can see at first eye shot. So what is the main feature in this blueprint, or in this pictograph, as some of you paraphrase nicely? You don't need to read the words for this. You just need to look at the pictures. What do you notice right away for this system to work? There's a very clear kind of main feature, I would say, here. Okay, so what do you notice right away? I noticed something very quickly here, definitely. My eyes kind of pick this apart immediately. Ferdov says it needs water. Yeah, Ferdov's, I think that's obvious. We want to be a little bit more granular than that. So what's the main feature aside from the water? It's like you're teaching a grade 10 science class and you're doing a presentation, but instead of just presenting like this, you're writing it down, right? Okay, OS, very good. OS paid attention to this. OS says there's a natural resource that's necessary for this, like the rain. Okay, Surya says it's a complicated process. Yeah, students, please use English in the chat. Don't disrupt the other students who are trying to learn. Okay, all right. Let's see. Ferdov says it's using Newton's law. Okay, I'm still looking for a clear full sentence here, students. A clear full sentence. Okay. Give me a nice, clear, full sentence here. So An says, at first glance, it is clear that nature, such as the sun and water, are used in the process. And what else? Okay. What else do you see? So nature is part of it. I agree.
Okay. Juck Hungier says, overall, there are 7 steps required, beginning with the sea being heated. Yeah, that's part of it too. Okay. Turbine. Look at this, students. So we have sun, we have rain, we have clouds, we have this reservoir or this piece of water that's being filled here. So I think the main feature happens here. Okay. Nature and man. Does everybody see that? Does everybody see that there's a natural process here and then there's a man-made process here? So in fact, you're looking at kind of 2 unique processes. Does everybody see that? Does everybody see those 2 unique processes of nature and man being combined in the production and delivery of electricity? Okay. Okay, everybody sees nature, man? Is that clear? And says yes. Okay, so now, anybody know what this is called? Okay, what is this called when the sun heats up the sea evaporates, forms rain clouds, and then those rain clouds move over land and fall in the form of rain and create water on land. Anybody know what the technical name of that is? Let's see who gets that super thumbs up. I've taught this word a long time ago. I'm not sure if any of the students, it's the water cycle. Okay, Zubair, you're very close. It is called the water cycle, but there's an even more technical term for that. Okay, anybody know what the most technical term for water cycle is? Let me teach it to you. Okay, I'll put it right up here. It's also known as I'm still looking to see if anybody got it. It's called the hydrolytic cycle. Okay. So water cycle, if you're going really technical, it's called the hydrolytic cycle. Okay. Hydrolytic cycle. Almost, Shavnal, almost. Hydrolytic. Okay. So good. Now that we have that, so now that we know that it takes this natural process, more specifically the hydrolytic cycle, and a man-made infrastructure, you can create the main feature to a band 9 level. So go ahead and write. Evaporation, condensation, those are all parts of the hydrolytic cycle. So you have evaporation, you have condensation, and then you have percolation in the ground. You have some other steps there. Those are parts of the hydrolytic cycle. Okay. Write the full sentence for the main feature. I'm going to do the same, and then we will compare here. Okay. So okay. So Amrik says most electricity is generated with steam turbines using fossil fuels, nuclear biomass, geothermal. Amrik, you're way off topic. You're going to lose a lot of band scores if you write in that way, even if it's perfect English. Okay? So careful with that. Ferdov says it is obvious that the hydrological cycle and man-made infrastructure creates electricity. Yeah, creates hydroelectric power. That's right, Ferdov's very good. Okay, Shucks Zaib says these pictograms are clearly showing the process of water generation till its conversion into electricity and then supplied in hometowns. Shucks Zaib, that's really confusing. That would be about a band 4.5. Nick Hill says overall it is evident that electricity is generated using the hydrolytic cycle and further processed through man-made infrastructure. Nick Hill, that's quite good. Okay, that's up at 758 for sure. Okay. Honey says the diagram very beautifully illustrates. Honey, no personal opinion, no very beautifully. Expository essays don't have personal feelings in there, so we don't say beautifully illustrates, okay? So, honey, just the diagram illustrates the integration of natural cycles and man-made machines to generate electricity. It's not bad, honey, but it's a bit general. It's about a band 6, okay? Kritika Khanot says, meticulously examining the process, the hydrolytic cycle plays a big role in the generation of power as it involves various small processes like evaporation and condensation. Kritika, that's part of your analysis, your body paragraph, not your main feature. Careful, okay? So we're going to get into that next, all right? Okay, so this is my overview. I'm just going to grab this and place it a little bit lower down so everybody can see it following the graph, and then we can get into the actual body paragraph or the analysis of this, okay? So here it is. So again, take a look at the diagram. There's the diagram, okay? Let me erase this. And then we'll look at the overview. So the overview is here. The process diagram explains the 7 stages and multiple components needed to create hydroelectric energy and deliver it to the public. At first glance, it is clear that hydroelectric power depends on the natural hydrolytic cycle as well as extensive man-made infrastructure and technology. So that's my overview, okay? That's your band 9. Everybody clear so far, and everybody understands how I got to writing that. So what I did to analyze that, okay? I didn't look at the words, I just looked at the main features. I saw that, hey, this is nature, and hey, this is kind of human, right? We can see that division at the dam here, okay? All right. So now let's get into some more detailed writing. Here we go. This is the analysis, okay? This is the analysis. The analysis is the body, okay? All right. And before you begin, definitely indicate your points here, okay? There's quite a bit of information here, so I want to first focus on this piece here. Okay, I want to focus on this natural process. It should follow the same logic as my main feature, okay? So here, I want to first target this sun. The rays of the sun create or evaporate seawater, and seawater condenses into clouds. These clouds then move over land, okay? So this is my step 1, and then falling in the form of rain is my step 2, okay? Collected into a reservoir, which is blocked by a dam, that's my step 3. Okay, so here is where you want to use words like first, okay? So here we go. Begin with number 1. Write the sentence for number 1. I'm going to do the same, and then we'll move step by step and compare, and I will give you some feedback, okay? All right, everyone. So firstly, our beautiful sun and its magnificent rays warming the sea and creating evaporation. So put that together for me, okay? And you do not need to separate the hydrolytic cycle and the infrastructure into 2 paragraphs, okay? So you can just keep it in 1 paragraph, okay? So here is where you can use this, okay? To begin with, A lot of students love writing this to begin with and don't use it correctly. They use it in task 2. You shouldn't use that in persuasive essays, okay? In persuasive essays, it's weak. It's a weak leading expression. In an expository process essay, it's a well-placed leading expression. So to begin with, okay? To begin with, the sun's rays evaporate seawater, which then enters the atmosphere and condenses into clouds. Okay? All right. And says the production starts with the stages of the water cycle, as where the sunshine and water vapor condenses to make clouds. Okay, the sunshine does not condense, uncareful. The sunshine evaporates water, so use the word evaporates water, which then condenses to make clouds. So careful on, it's a bit confusing there. Okay, that would drop your mark. All right. Clouds actually become heavier over land, so that's why I didn't get into that yet. Ferdov says, analyzing deeper, let me just move back to the diagram. Some of you are still thinking on it. Ferdov says, analyzing deeper, the process begins with heating the surface of the sea by the sun's rays, and then the aqua evaporates to create clouds. Yeah, aqua instead of water, okay? We would say water molecules here too for Dobbs, okay? All right, Hanneth Honey says, at first glance, the sun will create evaporation, which is a natural process. Then the evaporated water will condense. Hanneth, first tip, don't use will. Okay, expository essays stay present tense unless you have a time indication. That's very important, everyone. Keep that in mind, okay? So use present tense unless there is a time indicated in the process essay, which is usually not the case, especially not in a process essay. So this is an important tip. Okay, here we go. So tip, use the present general tense of verbs in a process essay unless there is a specific time indicated which warrants the use of past or future. Past tense or future participles, okay? So don't use the future participle will. Okay, everybody good? Yeah? Don't use the future. It drops your score. Again, these are the small details, and if you make many of these mistakes, of course, your score goes down, okay? So you have to learn college level writing, at least college level writing, first year college level writing, to be really successful on the IELTS and in your studies when you're going to do your university, okay? That's what they're looking for, okay? So here's my first step, just very simply. To begin with, the sun rays evaporate seawater, which then enters the atmosphere and condenses into clouds. I'm simply just reporting what I'm seeing. So this is my number 1, okay? And then I stop there. So then the clouds move over land, okay? And water falls in the form of rain, okay? So in the next step, the clouds move over land, become heavy, and the water falls in the form of precipitation, or you can say rain. Precipitation, again, more advanced vocabulary. You're picking up more points, right? So precipitation. Keep writing these steps with me, students, okay? Nick Hill says, after the creation of clouds, the clouds move over land, which contain heavy molecules. It is stored in the reservoir after molecules drop in the form of rain. Nick Hill, pay attention to your grammar. It's a little bit off, okay? Sarah, and thanks for the thumbs up, okay? So, in the next step, the clouds move over land, become heavy, and the water falls in the form of precipitation. At this point, man-made infrastructure becomes important. The falling rain, I can use a semicolon in this case. The falling rain is collected in reservoirs which are created by building dams against mountains. Okay, so here I'm describing this part here. Okay, so now I'm into step number 3. The rain falling in the form of precipitation, collecting in a reservoir. The reservoir is created by building a dam up against a mountain. Okay, here's my mountain. Okay, so again, just going step by step, really pay attention to those connecting words that I'm using. Okay. Oh, it says after the shower, the water collects behind the dam to use the water stream to energy movement. OS, you have really good ideas, but you have to write them down using clear English, okay? Lepe Yun says, having moved along over the land and with the clouds, the water falls in the form of precipitation. Lepe, the second half after the comma is okay. The first half is a bit confusing. I know these process essays can be really tricky. Here's a really good tip for you to practice process essays. Now, process essays, some of you might think, oh, why do I have to do this for the IELTS? Well, just imagine in college and in university how often you have to describe a process, okay? Whether in computer science, biology, or chemistry, you often have to describe a process using English, okay? So process essays are really important. Here's a little tip for you, okay? And you're going to enjoy this. It's fun. It's not just, it's not painful, I promise you, okay? So there's a very popular TV series that used to be on Discovery Channel, I believe. And it's called How's It Made? Okay, it's called the How's It Made? Okay, so to learn a lot of great English, especially for describing a process, which is, I just mentioned, is very important for work and for school, watch some episodes called, and I think you can watch them on YouTube, watch some episodes on YouTube called How's It Made? ... Okay, so there's a lot of different episodes. For example, How's It Made Pencils? Okay, or How's It Made Trumpets? How's it made coffee? How's it made chocolates? Chocolate bars. Okay. So check that out when you have a minute. Check it out. And the people who talk about the process and describe this process of making these different types of goods, they use some really good English. So listen to them and copy them. Listen and repeat. Okay. All right. So, and it's kind of fun. It's fun to discover those. Okay. All right. So how's it made? All right. Check that out. Okay, so let's keep going with this. So we're kind of past the natural process now of the hydrolytic cycle, and now we're moving into the electrical generation component. This is kind of the delivery component, right? So generating electricity and delivering electricity, okay? All right, so here we go. The dam, let's zoom in here. So this is our next process here. We have the dam. There's a valve. The valve is either open or closed. When the valve is open, the water moves down, uses gravity. I think this is where somebody says it uses Newton's law of gravity to create energy, right? And then that energy turns the turbine. Okay, so here's the turbine. Okay, so this would be my fourth step here. Okay. So in the next stage, water is released from the reservoir through a valve. Hint, hint. That's what you should be writing. Okay. And I see that you're writing that. Okay. Syra, the word limit for task 1 is 150 to 220 words. That's about how much you can fit in. Band 9 essays for task 1 are usually 180 to 200 words. Okay. So 150 is the absolute minimum that you have to write. Okay? It's the absolute minimum. So here we go. Okay? Afterwards, the water is released from the reservoir through a valve at the bottom of the dam, which flows down to a turbine using the force of gravity to generate power. Okay? All right, so that was my next step here. The turbine, okay? And then obviously the water here continues and is pumped back into the reservoir by a pump house, okay? It's called a pump house. So the water returns to the reservoir through a pump house, right? Okay, so we can mention that as well. Okay, the water then returns back to the reservoir through the assistance of a pump house. Okay. Surya says later the stored water is released from the reservoir through a valve and it flows down into a turbine. Yeah, through a turbine is okay, Surya, as well. Oh, it says the water can flow after the valve is open, where it goes through a tight turbine and then returns to the reservoir with the help of a pump house. Yeah. Okay. Hannah, returns or sends, both are okay in this case. Okay. All right. Yeah, sometimes knowing which verb is correct in the context is a bit tricky, but that comes through practice. Okay. All right, so we've got a few more steps left here. This is going to be my fifth stage. The turbine transfers the electricity to high voltage cables. Those high voltage cables then send power to the transformer station. Okay, so let's get that stage. That's going to be my fifth or sixth stage. Okay. So write some sentences for that, and I'll keep looking back to see what you're writing, okay? Sandeep says the accumulated water in the reservoir is released through a valve which rotates the turbine that is connected to a powerhouse, while the water is returned back to the reservoir by a pump house. That's some nice writing, Sandeep Yadav, okay? Instead of the second which, I would use a that in that case, okay? But otherwise, very good. Okay, very good. Very good. All right, so I'm going to keep plugging away here so we can see this essay unfold. Okay, so the electricity, okay, in the next phase, phase, stage, step. Those are the words you can use to paraphrase. In the next phase, stage, step, so that you're not repeating. So in the next phase, the electricity is sent from the turbine to high, what do they call them? High voltage cables. I think we need a hyphen here. High voltage cables, which deliver this energy to a transformer station. Okay, and then comes this step here, the transformer station, the underground cables delivering the power to homes, to industry, and to infrastructure, hospitals, and schools. Okay, so this is the final step. Okay. In the final step, the transformer station disperses the electrical power, the let's return to that nice word, electric power to homes, industry, and infrastructure, such as hospitals and schools. Okay, I'm doing a good job. I might have a band 9 at this point if I hand in my essay, but I want to make sure. I want to make sure that I have a band 9. So in order to do that, I'm going to create a nice little summary here, which we'll start with in summary. Okay, and this is my what I call my band 9 guarantee, because a band 9 expository essay, and you'll learn this in college and university as well, will have a summary. This isn't a conclusion, this is just a summary. It's an important fact that we can learn from all of this, which is clearly somewhere in the diagram that is given here, okay? So here we go. What can we learn from this? What can you summarize about this? What do we learn after looking at this graph? How can I summarize this for my audience so that they go, aha, yeah, that's a good piece of information. And for the examiner, they can say, that's a great finish, and I can definitely give you a band 9. Okay, let's see what you come up with. I'm going to start typing, and then you start typing, and we'll see if your summary and my summary kind of are similar. In summary,
Okay. So let's see what you've come up with. Lamia, we have the overview at the beginning, and we're going to read that as well. This is the summary. The summary is not just the overview. It's not just a repeat, okay? Kwan La, it really depends on your writing style. Roughly 10 to 12 sentences for task 1, if you want a specific numbers. AJ says, all stages are essential. If we miss one, electricity is not possible. I think that's a bit simplistic, AJ, for a summary. Okay. Disperses or distributes, both are okay. Yeah. Don't get hung up on vocabulary too much. The ideas are more important. Okay, here we go, everyone. So let's just review this together, and then you'll see how a Band 9, which is called an expert user of the English language, type essay is composed. So here's the original question, okay? The following diagram shows the steps required for the production and delivery of hydroelectric power. Describe the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Here we have our diagram. We said that, okay, there's this natural process here. It meets human innovation and the man-made component here. And then we wrote an essay, starting with the overview. Here's the overview. And read with me, okay? So this process diagram explains the 7 stages and multiple components needed to create hydroelectric energy and deliver it to the public. At first glance, it is clear that hydroelectric power depends on natural hydrolytic cycle as well as extensive man-made infrastructure and technology. To begin with, the sun's rays evaporate seawater, which then enters the atmosphere and condenses into clouds. In the next step, the clouds move over land, become heavy, and the water falls in the form of precipitation. At this point, man-made infrastructure becomes important. The falling rain is collected in reservoirs, which are created by building dams against mountains. Afterwards, the water is released from the reservoir through a valve at the bottom of the dam, which flows down to a turbine using, and here I'm going to make a little correction so it's clearer, which then flows down to a turbine using the force of gravity to generate power. The water then returns back to the reservoir through the assistance of a pump house. In the next phase, the electricity is sent from the turbine to high voltage cables, which deliver this energy to a transformer station. In the final step, the transformer station disperses the hydroelectric power to homes, industry, and infrastructure, such as hospitals and schools. In summary, after having observed this process, it is clear that the culmination of natural forces, such as the hydrolytic cycle and gravity, culminate with human innovation to produce electricity for the public. Okay, and that's your Band 9 essay. And that's how you have to think about it. So you have to go through steps, okay? You can learn this type of writing and you can learn this type of thinking and this English on our websites, especially when you join our premium IELTS package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access at aehelp.com for academic IELTS and glshelp.com for general IELTS. I highly recommend doing that. Janelle, culmination means that it's all brought together. Culmination means to accumulate, okay, to bring together. All right. You're very welcome, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed today's lesson. Tomorrow I'll be back with some more writing for our members and also some reading practice for the All Chat class. Have a fantastic rest of your day, everyone. You're all clever, amazing individuals. Always remember that. I'm Adrian signing out from Budapest for now. Much love to all of you. Bye.